Welcome to Next of Kin, the Parents Podcast. I'm your host, Emma. I'm a British expat living in Dubai, UAE, with my partner and baby girl. Join me on my expat motherhood journey. I'll be discussing different topics each week and we'll be joined by some wonderful guests. Now, if you're a mum, you're short on time, so let's jump right in. Welcome back to this week's episode where I am about to have the pleasure of chatting to Dr. Sandy Zanella. I bet you already follow her on Instagram on her account, My Mindful Mum Life. This is where she documents her parenting journey and how she incorporates mindfulness, intentional parenting and yoga into her everyday. Did you know that Sandy is a qualified doctor and author of the Happy Yogis book? She is passionate about mental health and the benefits of yoga and mindfulness for children. And that's what we're about to get chatting about. I can't wait. Let's jump right in. Hi, Sandy. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today.
Hi, Emma. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. How are you? How's your week been?
It's good. It's been good. Actually, it's one of the best weeks of the school year. But if you asked me last week, it was the worst. So I think we're on the rainbow part of life.
What makes it a good week?
A good week is my son is ready for school without me having to tell him 20 times to wear his shoes, to brush his teeth. And last week, we all went into meltdown mode, including me and my husband. You know, it was terrible. So this week it's working. I mean, we're only halfway, but it's amazing. They're ready by 7. I don't have to tell them anything. So I think it's, I hope it's going to continue like this.
My mum used to have to scream at my brother. Actually, 2 of my brothers were the same. They had to be actually screamed at out of the door, else they would have just stayed in bed. Like, they did not care about being late for school at all.
Yeah.
Well into their teenage years as well.
I don't want to even think about teenagers because I know my son, he doesn't like school. And especially Mondays. It's hard for him.
I understand. I feel the same.
Yeah, me too. And then Mondays he has swimming, so it's even worse because he hates swimming.
Oh, no.
But yeah, this week is working, so I'm
good.
happy.
That's a good start to the week then. Please, can we get started by you just introducing who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Sandy. I am an expat. I'm Mexican, but I've been living in the US for the past 12 years and then 3 years here in Dubai. I am a doctor, but I decided to take a more holistic approach into mental health. So now I am a mindfulness coach, a mental health coach, and a yoga teacher for families, children, and adults. And I'm also the author of a children's yoga book.
The book that I have.
Yes.
I've put it out of reach because Bonnie's at the toddler stage of just ripping, like all her, why do they make those flat books for toddlers? Because she just rips it straight off.
Yeah, everything comes
Her
off.
books are ruined at the moment.
Yeah.
But we love your book. We're going to start using it when she's a bit older.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good place to start. Tell me, what kind of age can I start introducing these mindfulness practices or like yoga? Because she's 13 months now.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about yoga and mindfulness is there's no early stage or late. It's like the right moment when you're curious about it, you can start practicing. And when it comes to children, I work in nurseries from 1 year old. It's about breathing, and it's more about, for example, you with your baby co-regulating and connecting. Like, for example, you just tell them, oh, I feel kind of tired right now. I'm going to take a deep breath. And then you do it. And this is something that is changing your lifestyle, but it's also they are seeing their mommy taking deep breaths whenever, and they're hearing, because parenting is all about modeling, right? Like,
yeah. I hadn't even thought of that. I honestly just put the book on a high shelf and was like, great, when she's 3 or 4, we'll look at it. I didn't think that we could start now.
Yeah, you can, the book has basically like 2 sides. With the little ones, when I go to nurseries, I only read the left side, which is the affirmations part.
Okay.
And then the other part, I would start reading it when they're like 4 or 5, when they're like, they can stay still longer and pay attention more to the explanation of the positive affirmations. So it's always good to just start, like just talking about breathing, just maybe doing a pose together, like it's so for me, I see it as mental health hygiene, just like how you teach your children how to brush their teeth, even though they can't, you still tell them, okay, you have to brush your teeth, and then you do it together. And then by 6, 7, they will start doing it by themselves. But still, you ask them to do it every day, even though they are not like doing it correctly or whatever. So I think it's all about creating this habit.
That's interesting. So when I've been to see a few nurseries, they've mentioned things like, they say that they do French and Arabic lessons, and I'm like, she can't speak English. And they say yoga, and I think, well, what are they doing? So what do you actually do when you go into the nursery?
So with the little ones, it's everything. It's props. I use, for example, for breathing, bubbles. So I ask them, okay, we're going to blow bubbles, but we're going to breathe in through our nose and blow the bubble through our mouth.
Yeah.
So this way they can actually, it's tangible for them. It's visual, and they have a sense of, okay, the air is coming in from my nose and I'm blowing and the bubble is coming out.
Yeah.
So it's that. I use one thing that is called the Hoverman sphere or breathing sphere. And it's so visual for them, because when it grows bigger, as you pull it out, I tell them this is like your belly. When you breathe in through your nose, your belly expands like this sphere. And then when you breathe out through your mouth, your belly shrinks. Yeah. Just like the breathing will. So now every time they see me, they stop, the little ones, they stop and breathe. This is the first thing. Like, it's just, they connect seeing me or the ball with breathing. So it's everything is visual. We use a lot of like scarves, music, yoga music. There's a lot of yoga music out there in YouTube. And so there's the where I did my certification, they have like songs that all kids know, like head, shoulders, knees and toes, but it's head, shoulders, yoga pose. Yeah. So you do a pose, and they are used to these songs, but now you give it a little yoga twist, and this way they can practice these movements, and it's all about like books. You can use books, everything that they can touch and they can see and they can like really connect. It's the best way. Then for the 4-year-old, 5-year-olds, it's easier. They will stay longer for a class. Of course, for the 1-year-old class, it's 15 minutes. I cannot do more than that because, you have a 13-year-old.
Absolutely. Her attention span, nothing.
But the habit is there. They know that they're doing yoga. They know Miss Sandy is coming to do yoga, right? So they will grow up with this, and they will know that it's part of their day. This is the important thing right now. It's a foundation. I want children to understand that yoga is part of their daily routine.
It's interesting because I always think that I'm not a yoga person. I used to do it a few years ago, but I'm not very flexible, and I just found it like really, really hard. But I do like the mindfulness side of it. Yeah. So if I go to a yoga class that's all about just getting relaxed and comfy, I love it. Yeah. But when I go to a full-on one where I'm meant to be doing really hard poses, I literally can't do it at all. But you're talking about a total different side of yoga for children.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. There's a lot of ways to practice yoga and mindfulness, and yoga is not. A lot of times people think that yoga is about the poses, but yoga actually, it has 8 limbs, it's called. So 8 parts of yoga. One of the 8 parts is asanas, which is the poses. But the other poses is the poses that the things that will take you to the last one, which is bliss, which is after meditation, which is going to be like when you're fully relaxed and connected. And it's going to take practice to get to there. But it's starts with the yamas and niyamas, which is like the way of living using the yoga philosophy. So it's more than the poses. And what you were mentioning, different types of yoga. You can do restorative yoga, which is probably the one that you would enjoy. You hold the pose for a longer time, and it's just more for like stretching, and it's more relaxing and connecting. So this is the beauty about yoga, and you can practice anytime. Like I tell my kids, okay, you don't need to do yoga, because they are very interested, because probably like they see me and they have the book and they know that I breathe yoga, right? It's everything about yoga. And actually my daughter, she just finished her certification to become a children's yoga teacher.
I love that.
So it's like we practice yoga, but sometimes I tell them, you don't have to do the yoga class every night, because we do it and I let them lead the class so they feel more like they're in charge. But sometimes it's all about like, when we're brushing our teeth, we're holding tree pose. So like tree pose is the one that you find balance on one of your legs and you bend the other one and bring your foot towards your thigh or your ankle.
Like a flamingo.
Like a flamingo, beautiful, yes. This is the way you teach children, right? With animals. And so you can hold this pose while you're brushing your teeth and you are practicing yoga like that. You know, it's not I love to share that yoga is like a lifestyle. You can sprinkle mindfulness and yoga throughout your day and become like part of your daily routine.
Interesting, because I think people find it a bit intimidating going to like an hours long class where you really need to like, a lot of people would struggle to shut off their mind for that amount of time, wouldn't they? And just want to escape. Yeah. So actually you can start really small then.
Yes. And also we have social media, like the yoga teachers who are like all skinny and perfect and bending. Even me, I can't some things, especially I'm not practicing as much because of course I'm a mom and I'm like busy all the time. So I also have to be like have compassion for myself and say, okay, I'm a yoga teacher, but I'm not how everybody will expect me to look or be. And it's just this comparison that comes from social media and from the expectations. I love like every yoga class that I teach, like saying, okay, each of one of us, we are different. We have different bodies. Maybe one can have more balance and then another person can have more flexibility. It's so different and it's so hard to not to compare, but it's part of understanding like yoga is different for everyone.
Right. How did you get into yoga then? Have you always been this way? Have you always been very zen?
No, no, not at all. I got pregnant and we were living in LA. And then we moved to Miami. I moved to Miami. I got pregnant right away in Miami. And I didn't have friends. So I was like, I need to do something to connect with other moms to be, because I have no friends and no mom friends. So I saw there was this prenatal yoga class. I went, and I'm Mexican. So even though I'm a doctor, I know that having a natural birth is better for your body and for your baby, but I was like, no, I'm doing a C-section, because in Mexico you can choose, kind of like here.
Yeah.
Then I'm in the US and they tell me, no, unless there's not a medical condition, you're gonna have natural delivery. And I was so scared. And the yoga teacher, she was a doula, so she was using affirmations and mantras to help us like understand that our body knows what to do and our body is strong, and to the point that my mindset completely shift to, I want to have a natural delivery without epidural, without nothing.
Wow.
So I was like, this is so powerful. I want to share, first of all, with my daughter, because this was my first thought. I want to share affirmations. I've never heard about affirmations before. And this is why I use affirmations in my book, because they were so powerful for me. Like, I was so scared to having a baby natural, to try to have it without epidural or anything. So fast forward, I had my daughter, and when she was 6 months or 7, this is when I did my first certification. And then along the way, I've been doing like more certifications, like trauma informed or chair or prenatal. But it's it was that curiosity of finding friends, not really even like I want to do yoga.
Yeah.
If I would have find like maybe Zumba, I would have.
Yeah, exactly. You're lucky that you found yoga then. It sounds a bit like hypnobirthing, what you're describing. I did the hypnobirthing and the affirmations. Did you find it useful when you actually were in labor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Although it was hard because comparing Miami to LA, it was completely different. Okay. In Miami, they didn't allow me to walk or even... I arrived to the hospital, with my birth plan and my ball and everything. And they were like, no, you cannot use your ball. You cannot walk, or I'm going to do squats. I've been like doing goddess pose in yoga. And no, they were like, no, because your water broke and we don't want to risk it to have an infection. Whereas in LA, my water broke, everything. I was even eating. They have like a fridge with cheese and ice cream and all these things. In Miami, they didn't let me even drink water.
It fascinates me how different it is in all the different countries, but even within the US, you've had two totally different experiences. It's mad. And here in the UAE, you can kind of pick your doctor by what kind of birth you want to have. But that's crazy, because some countries... Is Mexico one of those countries then that they prefer you to go for a C-section?
Yes, our statistics are super high, because in Mexico, we don't have really good healthcare system, so we pay.
Yeah.
Everything what you can afford is what you get.
Yeah.
So you choose who is your doctor, and doctors are so used to scheduling C-sections around their holidays or whatever. I have a wedding, okay, let's move your C-section. Or if the mom wants to, some of them, they want to have their baby when their husband's birthday is, if it's like near, so they will make it happen, like this. It's like customized.
Mad. Yeah. But it is funny how different it is everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So tell me about the affirmations, because that's a big part of your book. Is this something you use in everyday life, and how do you use them?
Yeah, so it was so important for me because after that I was like so into understanding how affirmations work and how we can actually rewire our brain. And it was so interesting to me to learn that 80% of our thoughts, we have like around 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of them are negative. So we are biased to think negatively.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high.
Yeah,
that's crazy, isn't it?
It is. But the beautiful thing is that we have something called neuroplasticity, which is like the ability to change and rewire our brain. And one of the ways is meditating. Another way is like practicing mindfulness and affirmations. It's like you're telling your brain what you want to believe.
Right. And
it will end up like changing all, like creating new neurons, connections, and then you will believe it. It's just the mind is so powerful.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is it. I love affirmations. I will use them. And now with my kids, we use them every day. Like whenever they tell me, okay, I don't want to go to school. We talk about why you don't want to go to school. And then the good things about going to school. And then I will put some affirmation that like, I will learn today something interesting.
Yeah.
And this is something they are looking forward, and something it's something they will learn and they will find interesting. It's all about like kind of getting to their level and understanding what they want. So it's with my daughter. She has curly hair, very curly. And it's curly, but I style it, it's not like curly, it's wavy.
Yeah.
And so she was around 4 years old or something, and she saw me with the iron, like curling it. And she was like, I want to have your hair. And I was like, oh no, this is not happening. So I started affirmations with her. I was like, okay, let's repeat. I love my hair. I love my curly hair. I'm happy with the way I look. And all these things, to the point that now she loves her hair. So it was something that it really, like people tell her, oh, you have such beautiful hair, because it's like really curly,
Yeah.
People ask me like, do you do something like permanent or something? I'm like, no, I don't touch hair. So it's really like grabs attention from people. And now she can accept this, because before she couldn't. She was like, no, I don't like it. And it just broke my heart. I stopped curling my hair, especially because it was right before the pandemic. So it's like, I don't need to do anything to my hair. And I let it like this. Now I start again. But now I know she loves her hair, and she loves the way she looks. So it's just, especially with children, we can help them to love themselves and accept themselves the way they are.
It's interesting because obviously, I mean, that's such a girl thing, isn't it? We all hate whatever hair you have, you want the opposite when you're a girl. I don't know what this is about, but I have been saying recently that we need to be very conscious about what we're saying around Bonnie, because she can understand a lot more than you think that she can understand. And she hears multiple times a day how cute and how chubby she is. And I mean, she is deliciously chubby, but we need to stop saying that, because she'll be an adult thinking the earliest things I can remember is people commenting on my body, but actually you're telling me that I can take that one step further and use I love my body, or my body is strong. And I do really believe in the power of words. Whenever anyone says she's cute or she's beautiful, I then chip in with, and she's strong, and she's brave, and she's kind. So I do really believe in the power of words. But yeah, that's something I'm going to take from this conversation, is that I'm going to take that one step further with her.
Yeah, it's so important that they know that they're valuable for other things, not just the way they look.
Yeah.
It's because
and especially as a girl.
Yeah, and there is statistics show that girls by the age they're 13, 80% of them who are using social media, which now a lot of kids are using, they use filters to change the way they look. 80% of the 13-year-old girls who are using social media. So what can we expect when they were going to be 16, 18? They're completely going to neglect the way they look, like hate the way they look, because they're using filters already, even as an adult. Yeah, so it's so important to start from the beginning, like from their little, how you're doing.
And actually, that's not something we had to really think about when we were growing up. I mean, I had MySpace at some point as a teenager, but we barely could take that many photos of ourselves. So it was fine. This is very new, and a new thing we're going to have to parent through is when they're teenagers. So laying those foundations now is going to be really useful. Especially, I think as well, when we were brought up, there wasn't this focus on mental health, was there, that we have now. I mean, as a parent, that's my number one thing. If I can create a child that has good mental health or knows how to cope with her own mental health, then that's me feeling like I've done a good job.
Yeah, it's like giving them a shield for whatever, because we cannot hold them forever in a bubble. They will go out and have challenges. And this is what we want them to be, like, with this toolkit of ways to respond to some challenges or navigate life.
How to build resilience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting, because you talk a lot about mindful parenting, don't you? And intentional parenting.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
So mindfulness is, by definition, it means being here and now without thinking about tomorrow or yesterday, and without judgment. Whatever you're thinking or whatever you're feeling, you are trying not to judge that feeling or that thought. You're just trying to be here and now with it and let it be, and then let it pass. It's this practice is like a muscle. You have to practice, and then you'll get there. So mindful parenting is towards yourself, but also towards your children. Not judging their reactions, because sometimes we are like, oh, he's trying to give me a hard time. They're just doing this because they want my attention. So it's more about, like, what is my child trying to tell me? Like, if they're always like calling me, is there something that I need? And I'm telling them I need to work, and they're still here. What do they need? Maybe they just need 3 minutes of my attention. It's that, without judging the way they are responding, whether it's positive or negative. And just connecting in the present without any distractions, anything that it's going to block whatever connection we're going to have.
This is extra interesting because the last podcast episode that I've released, I'm talking all about finding my parenting style. Oh. And I talk about a few things that I didn't know it was mindful parenting. But now that you're telling me this, I'm connecting dots and thinking, okay, naturally, maybe that's who I want to be. And so I should probably lean into that a bit more.
Yeah, and it's beautiful because then you as a parent, you are learning how to cope with your own triggers and your own anxiety, so you can respond instead of reacting and getting hijacked by your emotions. You will respond to your child's needs in a calm and healthy way. And also this will teach them how to, they can cope with their own stressors. So you're modeling how to cope, how to, okay, my mom's getting, because I tell my kids, okay, I'm getting frustrated. I'm honest about it because I don't want them to think I'm the perfect mom or my mom never gets angry, because then this is going to teach them that there's someone out there who has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Expecting someone like me. Well, no. So if I really getting frustrated, I take a step back and I tell them, I'm getting so frustrated right now. I'm just going to take a deep breath. And usually sometimes they even join because they understand that this helps me and this helps them. So we just take the breath. Sometimes, of course, it works. Sometimes it doesn't, because it's not a magic one that I'm mindful now. It's going to work. But it's all about that. It's all about responding instead of reacting and screaming and doing this. And even if we scream, there's always room for repair. So it's also another thing, like, okay, this time I scream at you. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to be more mindful. Next time I will take another deep breath. And maybe you can help me if you see that I'm, getting anxious or getting stressed. And my son always tells me, Mom, take a deep breath.
Well, that's good because you're teaching them that they have an impact on other people as well. So if you were just serene all the time, then they're not going to learn to not do those things because it's really irritating to people or that they have an impact in the wider world. They wouldn't learn that, would they?
Yeah. And then that becomes maybe for them, they think they have to be perfect and they become people pleasers.
Yeah.
Because they want to be always perfect because my mom was always perfect or my dad or anyone. So yeah, for me, it's I do show them that I get sad, that I get mad. Of course, to their level. I'm not going to share all the things that happen between maybe me and my husband or a co-worker or something. But to their level, I tell them every day, okay, today this happened to me. I'm a little bit sad. And then we kind of like problem solve together. What can we do? Okay, let's have a dance party or whatever. They try to cheer me up as well. So it's something that you are not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it together with them.
That's really sweet. Imagining them doing that. That's really kind of them. So tell me, you moved to Dubai, did you say 3 years ago?
Yeah, in January is going to be.
How are you finding it so far?
I love it. It's far from my family.
Yeah.
And our friends, but I love it. It's so family friendly. I think like, especially compared to LA, some places they're not tolerant to kids, so.
Yeah, I find Dubai particularly, like, people just love kids here.
Exactly. I was so shocked the first time I came. I was like, okay, maybe it's the hotel. And then I went out and it's like, no, everybody's so kind. And so I'm happy. I love it. I made good friends here also already. My business is also doing well. So it's, my book. So I was kind of like, I didn't know what to expect with yoga and mindfulness because I'd never been here. So it's like, are they going to be like maybe skeptical or not open? No, even schools. I work with schools. Everybody wants to learn about mindfulness and yoga. So I'm really happy that I think I found my place. I mean, we never know, Dubai, everyone moves. But I'm enjoying.
You seem to have moved around quite a lot then, because you've mentioned Miami, LA. Have you moved a lot whilst you've had the children?
Yeah.
And how have you found that then?
It was easy because my daughter was young.
Okay.
And so I was living in LA, then we moved to Miami. My daughter was born there. Then when she was like 1.5, we moved back to LA.
Okay.
Then New York. But it's always been like 1 year, 1.5 years that we live in different places. Then back to LA when my son was born. And then for the pandemic, we were in Mexico because we were like, okay, let's just be close to my family and enjoy the time.
Yeah.
And so then we moved here. So I think it would be hard for my kids to move.
Especially with school and everything, I guess.
Yeah.
So you're here to stay for a little while.
Yeah, I hope.
So tell me about your parenting journey or your journey of becoming a mum. Did you always want children? How was that?
Yeah, I always wanted to have children. Of course, it was a surprise. We were not planning. We had my daughter as soon as we moved to Miami, so we didn't really were looking for babies.
Yeah.
But we were happy, and then I thought I was just going to wait longer. But my son came, even though I was like with contraception and everything, he just came. And for me, it was this, I had to give a bigger pause for practicing medicine, because I wanted to be with my daughter. The one thing I knew it was I want to raise them. I don't want to have them like in a nursery or the whole day, like working really like until 6 p.m. and just picking her up to put her to bed.
Yeah.
For me, this didn't work. So I was like, okay, I'll just pause. But then my son came, and then I felt bad not doing it for him as well.
Yeah, of course.
So that's why I took this big pause in medicine. And during this time, I realized I wanted to do more of mindfulness for children and for families, because I saw it was working with me. Even me and my husband, we don't share the same parenting styles.
Ah, interesting. Okay. So what's his parenting style like?
He's, he's Italian. So he tends to be more into the authoritative, like he wants to they have to learn and they have to have consequences, but not natural like consequences like remove the iPad or and I'm more like natural consequences or teaching them.
Learning from the mistake.
Exactly. But now he's a little bit more on my side.
Is he coming over to you? I love that.
He's even meditating with us in the morning. So it's a short meditation we do every morning, like 5 minutes. But I see him coming more towards
coming around.
Yes, I see him like practicing mindful parenting with them, like being breathing before like responding to them, and I see him like really trying to explain to them why this is happening instead of like because I say so and just do this. So even though we have different styles, I think he's a little bit more on my side. So it's good because he sees that my connection with my kids is
working.
Like, exactly.
I'm fascinated by you being a doctor first. What were you practicing? What kind of medicine?
General practitioner. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so you don't think you're going to go back to that anytime soon?
No, I'm happy right now. I'm still helping people.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I was in LA, I was doing research and we were working with these children who had like sleeping disorders or anxiety. And to me, I really wanted to, when I had children, I didn't think about I'm going to teach children something, but I realized that there's so many things you can do before you treat them with medication. So after I did the yoga, the prenatal yoga, I was like, this is it. This is something they can use before. Of course, medicine is amazing when you need it. Sometimes you could try a different way. You could try this holistic approach. And this is why I decided, no, I don't want to go back. I'm still the doctor for my family. Everybody calls me still, and my friends ask me. But I think now I am still helping people, but in a more holistic way, so they can tune into their own emotions, emotional intelligence, and resilience, and growth mindset.
I see a lot of doctors online who used to be doctors and then are going into either like nutrition or something like you're doing. Yeah. So that's interesting. I feel like there's a bit of a cry out from the doctors that they want to know a bit more about nutrition or about mental health and starting there instead of going straight to the medicine. So that's super interesting to me.
It is. And it's an awaken for everyone because before it used to be like square, like, okay, medicine and this is it. And it was actually like a fight between like Western and Eastern medicine. In my school, it was like, okay, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't work. That's just woo-woo and it's not working. Now we see like functional medicine, which is like mixing both. So I think we're getting to a point where we know that this actually works. Ayurveda, all these ancient practices, they're still here because they work. Yeah. So I think it's a nice kind of way to blend both.
And these things are starting to get proven now as well, aren't they? Even I've heard of a study that's to do with, you probably know the one, but a doctor doing a study on glasses of water, and one they're saying positive things and one they're saying negative, and then they freeze it and see the ice formations, and the positive one has like these beautiful ice crystals. You've heard of this study, right? So these kind of things that we think of as woo-woo are actually slowly getting scientifically proven, aren't they?
Exactly. And this is the thing, like more scientists are trying to prove this, and they can actually do their studies and everything. And it's just, I had a talk with a neuroscientist, I think 2 days ago, and she's also into like mindfulness and all this, and I'm so happy to see like all these professionals like really trying to add this part, because this is a lifestyle that we all have, and children are naturally they're mindful, but it's just us that we kind of like remove that skill from them because we are like always rushing, and we're like, okay, let's go, no, don't stop.
Yes, this is so interesting because they always want to stop and look at something that's interested them, but we need to rush off.
Yeah, it's they want to stay there. They want to like eat and taste everything and just look at the strawberry, like, and they're like, and we are the ones who are like, okay, finish eating. Yeah, we don't let them just be in the moment. So it's something that if we become more conscious about it, we will leave that space for them to really connect to what they're doing in the present moment. And then this will remain a lifestyle, because even at work, people, they think like if they stop to take some couple of deep breaths, they're losing time. They could send 2 emails instead of taking deep breaths. But in reality, it's like you're investing in your mental health and in your productivity. And then your emails are gonna be maybe better. Your negotiation skills are gonna be better, because you're even giving more oxygen to your brain. Our cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, are always high. We never give the space to bring it down. So normally in our body, when we wake up, we have a high peak of cortisol. If you stop looking at your phone or whatever stresses you, and just take a moment to take 3 deep breaths, your cortisol levels will come down. And then from there, your day will be more regulated. You're going to have more.
I really need to listen to you. The first thing I do is check the time on my phone. And then obviously there'll be a notification, so I click on that.
Yeah,
so I do need to listen to you.
Yes. So if you give just 3 deep breaths on your bed, and then you bring those cortisol levels down, then you give more space to whatever challenge comes in your life, they will rise again, but you're coming from a lower point. Whereas if it's already up, it's going to just increase. And by the time you pick up your kids from school or nursery, then whatever thing they drop their water in the car, and that's it.
That's just going to set you off, isn't it? Very interesting. Actually, I really like what you were saying when we're talking about the mindfulness of children and being in the moment. It kind of brings me back. I did an episode about the Montessori approach, and I've been looking at nurseries recently because I feel like Bonnie needs a bit more stimulation. And one of the questions I asked the last time I went to tour a nursery was, will you just let her be? Let her just do what she's doing? Because I find that a lot of the times you go to these play places and it's just craziness, like, let's be loud, let's do jumping, let's do this. And they're like, Bonnie walks in like, what is going on? And it's slightly terrifying. And I want her to be able to just play uninterrupted, like let her just do what she's doing. She's learning as she's playing, like stop interrupting her and showing her different ways of doing things, like let her be. So that's interesting. It kind of comes back to mindfulness as well as this like Montessori approach.
Yeah, they both align so well. Like I think they're very good together, Montessori and mindfulness. And I think it's just so important what you're mentioning. They need to just continue what they're doing. As you were saying, even you go to these birthday parties and it's one thing after the other. Like
it's like you're just trying to distract them constantly. Yes. And then we say that these days children have such a low attention span. But no wonder, because this is how we're treating them from really early on.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, now that you mentioned Montessori, I did a workshop together with a friend. She's Montessori consultant.
Okay.
And we did mindfulness and Montessori, and it was perfect. We blended together, and it was the same kind of approach. So this is 2 sides of parenting that can connect really well, and supporting the child and supporting the parents, connecting. A lot of mindful parenting is first connecting to yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So first attend to your needs, so then you can attend to your child's needs. Because if you're coming from an empty cup, your soul is empty, then how can you're depleted. How can you even share love to your children, let alone patience?
Yeah, you're telling me this just at the right time, because I am like that end of year burnout. I need a holiday. I need a break.
It's coming. The good thing is it's coming.
But where can people find you then? Are you doing yoga classes at the moment in Dubai?
Yeah, so I usually do events or school visits. I read the book for children. Like it's an author visit mixed with a yoga session.
Okay.
So I talk a little bit about what becoming an author it takes. And
nice. What age is that aimed at?
So that's elementary.
Okay.
And if it's just book reading and yoga, it's for nurseries. I don't talk much about books, like how the process and all that. But it's just a full 1 hour yoga session. I use the book, but I also do like full yoga class with music and with props and things that are not in the book. I am doing events for mothers as well, like circles, woman circles and mom circles.
Yeah, I saw this on your Instagram. So what does that comprise? What is that?
So it's a holistic circle. So this one is with the moon, so with the full moon. So, the moon, it's like a cycle, right? It has cycle, so it connects with our cycle.
Yeah.
Woman, we are 70% water also, so the moon affects the water in our body. So it's just about sitting, connecting with each other and with ourselves, meditating, a little bit of movement, and just for the full moon is like releasing all the negative thoughts, whatever you no longer need, and manifesting for the good things that are coming for the next month. So it's interesting. The full moon is to shed and to let go. The new moon is to manifest and bring whatever you want. Like you can set your intentions during the new moon. So it's very interesting work around the cycle of the moon and your
That's
life.
super interesting, actually, because it links back. Some people will be listening and being like, no, that's too far, too woo-woo for me, won't they?
Exactly.
But even if you just think about it as a reminder to fill your cup back up, what we've just been talking about, if you have that reminder every month that you're going to sit with yourself and think about what you need to do differently to be the best mum you can or to
with
feel
others,
better.
And feel seen, because a lot of times as mothers, we feel like we're the only one.
Yeah.
We are the only one who's like screaming, or we are the only one who's not taking the kids to all the classes, all the activities, or all the birthday parties.
There's always more, isn't there? Always more you could be doing, and you're one person.
Exactly. And if it's so important, community is so important, and feel connected and feel that it's not just me. A big part, Dr. Neff, she talks a lot about self-compassion.
Yeah.
And there's 3 components of self-compassion. The first one is mindfulness. Then it's the common humanity, which is this, that I know that out there is someone else who is struggling just like me. It's not that I'm the only one who is having trouble at home with my partner, at work. It's this common thing that we all have. We're all humans. We're all connected in a way. And then the third one is kindness for everyone, but also for us, because we tend to leave ourselves for the last. This is why also I added the affirmations to kind of like teach children that they can be kind to themselves, because sometimes we focus a lot on be kind to your sister, be kind to your classmate. No, don't hate your friend. But what about tell something good to yourself? Like, okay, I'm strong, I'm beautiful. Like, just be kind to yourself so you can rewire again the brain and grow more resilient and more understanding, that I can have compassion for me just how I have compassion for my friends.
And hopefully then when they're a mother themselves, they will be able to have a full cup much more, because they will be doing that naturally without even thinking.
Yes, this is the goal. This would be
amazing. It's been so good speaking to you. Tell me, where can people find you then on the internet?
Yeah, so my Instagram I have too is happy.yogis.book.
Yeah.
And then my mindful mom life. And my website is www.drsandizanella.com.
Okay, I'll put this all below. And where can they buy the book? Because I love this book. It's even got a mirror at the start, which obviously Bonnie loves the mirror.
Yeah, this is a nice thing. So they can start, because it's so awkward for us as adults to see ourselves in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
It's hard. And there's also another ways to introduce, if you're not feeling comfortable with affirmations, there's other ways you can start. If you're not comfortable with saying, I'm beautiful, you can start by saying, what if I feel beautiful?
Yeah.
Right? This is another way. What if I feel that my body is beautiful?
Yeah.
So this is teaching your brain that
somewhere
there's
to work
some
from.
space, and then you will come to the point where you will just say, I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
So my book, you can find it at Virgin Megastore soon.
Okay.
I just signed
Watch
the
this
contract.
space.
Yeah, exactly. I just signed the contract. But on my website.
Yeah.
And then at Masontini.
Oh, great.
And there's this yoga studio. It's called Kayani Wellness Center. Mm-hmm. It's also there.
Okay, and I'll put links for everything that I can find so that people can click through in the show notes. So thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I've loved talking to you.
Thank you, Emma.